G'day mates, this is video 2 I guess, the Senate election. So at the moment I have a baseline of 50 to 46 in favor of the Republicans, with West Virginia flipping of course. So I'm recording it today on June 4th, means today we have primary in 3 states. We have Montana, we have New Jersey, and we have New Mexico. Now, these aren't the high stakes primaries you expect, because in the case of Montana, it's going to be Raymond Tester against Tim Sheehy. In the case of New Jersey, it's going to be Andy Kim against, I want to say Glasner, but it kind of depends on how the nomination is going to go. But the funny part about this is, Robert Menendez is running as an independent. So, is this going to really change the outcome of the election? Not really. It's about 5 or 6 points that he strips away from the Democrats, which technically would make it a likely race and would give a chance of a Republicans winning the state. I doubt it, but whatever. Then you have New Mexico, and that's Martin Heinrich against Nella Dominici, or Bella Dominici, I don't really know what her first name is. She is the daughter of former senator from the Republican side, so there's kind of a nostalgia thing going here, but is it going to change the outcome? Not really. Might make things a little closer. I think it's a bit strange. New Mexico is not getting polled, which I would say kind of strange, because you're polling Hispanics in Florida, you're polling them in Texas, you're polling them in Arizona, in Nevada, and everywhere you're seeing Hispanics swing to the right. So I would expect the same thing to happen in New Mexico, but there's no polling there. So how the fuck would I know what happens there? You're shooting in the dark. So, let's go over the safe states really quickly. Where there has been new polling, I have adjusted everything, so just so you know. California, Schiff plus 23. Connecticut, that would be Murphy plus 18. Delaware, that would be, what's her name, Blunt, plus 14. Hawaii, Hirono plus 42. Then you have Maine, Angus King would win by about 20 points. Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren wins by 21. You have Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar wins by 22. You have New York, Kirsten Gillibrand wins by 33. Roughly, she gets about a 2-1 margin of victory, so that's about on point of what it was in 2018 midterms. However, that is a significant swing to the right in comparison to 2012, where she had 72% of the vote, then it became 65-ish. Now it's going to be about that same ballpark. Keep that in mind. So New York is swinging to the right. Who wonders why, right? Then you have Rhode Island, that's going to be White House by 30 points. Vermont, Bernie Sanders is going to win by about 40 to 50. Virginia, Tim Kaine is going to win by about 12. I have Washington at the moment, in terms of polling, would be Cantwell plus 12. And that's it for the safe Democrat states. We have for the Republicans, Indiana, which would be Jim Banks plus 12. We have Mississippi, that would be Roger Wicker plus 18. And that's reading off the model here on the right. Missouri, that would be Josh Hawley plus 12. Nebraska, both seats, so Deborah Fisher against Dan Osborne, that would be about a 17-point victory. And then you have Pete Ricketts against Preston Love, and that's going to be about a 20 points. Because, of course, Democrats don't do so well statewide in the state of Nebraska. However, if you put an independent against them, you might see a margin slim down a little bit. It's the Alaska tactic. North Dakota, Kramer's going to win by about 25, 26, something in that particular ballpark. Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn's going to win by 20. Utah, wherever the Republican nominee is going to be, it's going to be about a 20-point victory. I hope it's going to be Trent Staggs, but it's probably going to be John Curtis, which basically means that this is a flip for the Democrats. Last two, West Virginia, so there's Jim Justice against Glenn Elliott. He's going to win by about 23, 24, something in that particular range. he may actually be capable of outperforming Trump. That might actually be the case. And the last one, John Barrasso in Wyoming. He is running for re-election. However, I support Reed Rasner for a very simple reason. John recently lost his wife to cancer. I think he needs to spend time with his family. He's like late 70s. Please spend time with your family. Life is kind of short at that particular point. You're past your life expectancy. Just slow down. Spend time with your family. Now for the likely states. Arizona has not had new polling in the case of the Senate election for the past month, or the last time I changed this model with updating the data. So it's about a 7-point victory for Ruben Gallego, so that stays the same. Florida, no new polling has come in. It's still Rick Scott plus 8. Then we have Maryland, and it would be at the moment, because we have had the primary, it is now Angela Alsobrooks against Larry Hogan, and the funny part about it is Alsobrooks is the weaker of the two candidates that the Democrats put forth. However, Larry Hogan decided to completely screw up his own campaign by alienating every single Republican voter in the state, which is something that you can't really do if you want to win as a Republican in the state of Maryland. Sure, you can try and win a third of the Democrats, but if you don't have the Republicans and independents on board, you don't win. So, I am going to write down what the numbers are, and then I'm going to change it about what it is going to be. So, at the moment, the numbers have it at Hogan plus 5. Now, I'm going to put this as leans, for obvious reasons, because it's not more than 5. Okay, next state, Michigan. We have Alessa Slotkin. She's leading in the aggregate against Mike Rogers by 2. Polling and accuracy is taken into account. They underestimate Democrats a little more than they underestimate Republicans, so it is going to be a 4-point victory for Slotkin at the moment. However, maybe there's a little bit of a change because of the way the election is performing. Next state, Montana. At the moment, Tester is leading by about 7 in the aggregate. Again, Democrats are underestimated in the state of Montana, whilst Republicans are basically polled on point. Last poll did have it at Tester plus 2. However, I haven't seen any new polling. It's going to ramp up probably in July, maybe August, after the conventions have been concluded and the 2 presidential debates. Next state would be Nevada. Rosen, 9.7, so that's slightly under 10. That would be a likely, so this is the first change in the model, I suppose. Next up, New Jersey. With Menendez running, it becomes a lesser margin than 10 points, so it's a likely victory for Annie Kim. New Mexico, I am going to put it at likely, however, it's basically on the edge of being safe. We'll just have to see what the data becomes. Ohio, Moreno is trailing the polling, however, polling is overestimating Democrats in comparison to Republicans, at least at margin of victory, so it is a little more favorable to Moreno in that particular case. It would still mean that Brown is winning by about 3 points. Pennsylvania, Casey plus 5.5. I don't think that's going to change very much over the cycle. Casey's going to have an easy victory, about the same margin as Vetterman did, maybe a little more. Texas, Cruz plus 7. Then we have everything else filled out. Wisconsin, basically a 10-point victory at the moment. Could change in the future. Now that I've put diffs in line, here's a little bit of a problem in terms of the way that the Senate election looks at this map. Every single state that Trump won, both in 2016 and in 2020, the Senate election also went to the Republican. Now you can see that in this particular cycle, That would not be the case because Trump is going to win Ohio, he is going to win Montana, and he's very likely going to win all 3 of the Rust Belt states, so Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. So those 5 states, technically speaking, should flip. We don't see that in the data right now. This is purely database, 51-49 for Republicans. However, I think it's going to look a little bit more like the following. So Maryland, I think it's going to be closer because of Larry Hogan. However, also Brooks is going to win. In the case of Nevada, I think it's going to be a hell of a lot closer. But Rosen is going to win. In the case of Arizona, it's going to be a very narrow victory for Gallego, but Lake still loses. In terms of Ohio, I think that Moreno's going to win, and I think that Tester is going to go down by about 5 points. So we have 52-48, and I think a final sleeper flip. There's one more sleeper flip in this one. I think these 2 are going to be a little more closer, and I think Michigan is going to flip by about the same margin as Gallego wins. So Gallego +1, and I think Rogers +1 too. What does this mean in the future? Well, for the 2030 Senate election, I think Mike Rogers is going to be dead on arrival, so that's going to flip Democrat again 6 years later. But at the moment, I think it's going to be 53-47. This is my intuition. A little bit different than the data is putting out right now. Thank you kindly for watching. I have 2 more videos, and then I'll leave it at this for quite some time. Busy with the documentary after all. Thank you kindly for watching. See you next time. Cheers.